Hello, McFluffy52 here, back some more Magic the Gathering Arena action. Today we're playing some more Omniscience Reanimator, except I think the second version, it's much easier to reanimate Omniscience, and our combo is much stronger. So in this version, we have some of these bounce spells for removal instead, and then we also have Invasion of Tolvada as another reanimation spell that can hit Omniscience without the same timing restriction as Reenact the Crime. I found a untapped GG list that had 690 games and 56% win rate, and it was playing these sorts of cards. So that's what we're trying out here in this version. Now, the combo, I took inspiration from Ali Eldrazi, did a video of Omniscience with Invasion of Arcavios, and if you have these two cards, if you have two Invasion of Arcavios in your deck, it's basically a combo in a can with Omniscience. You can loop any instant or sorcery in your deck or in your sideboard, as well as any permanent card in your deck. So the way the combo works is with with Omniscience on the battlefield, you need to get an Invasion of Arcavios. The way you can do that is with Beseech the Mirror. So I'll quickly go through these cards. Beseech the Mirror, it's a 4-mana card. You can bargain it, but it's not necessary, and it can search your library for any card, basically, and put it into your hand. If it's 4 mana value or less, though, you can bargain and cast it that way. So this is one way that we can have like 6 copies of Reenact the Crime, but in this case, it's mainly just a tutor spell in our deck. So once we have Beseech the Mirror, we can cast it to find Invasion of Arcavios, which is another tutor. I forgot that I was going through the cards. Invasion of Arcavios, 5 mana battle. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your graveyard, your library, and outside of the game, so your sideboard, for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it and put it into your hand. So these two tutors, once you have Omniscience, you basically need to find Invasion of Arcavios. So if you have a Beseech the Mirror, you're going to Beseech the Mirror for Invasion of Arcavios, and once you have one, you want the second. So when you play your first Invasion of Arcavios, you're going to want to grab that Beseech the Mirror from the sideboard or from the graveyard, and go ahead, cast that Beseech the Mirror, and find your second one. Now, once you have your second Invasion of Arcavios, you're going to grab this Town Ain't Big Enough from your sideboard. This card says return up to 2 target non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Normally, you'd probably play this bouncing something the opponent controls and then something you control. But in this deck, we're going to be using it to bounce a lot of things that we control. So using this Town Ain't Big Enough, we can bounce both Invasion of Arcavios and then play one to grab this Town Ain't Big Enough from our graveyard, and then play the second one to grab whatever instant or sorcery we would like to loop. In this case, what we probably will do is we'll grab Beseech the Mirror from our graveyard, and then cast it to find Jace. Then when we play Jace, we can take it down to 1, and then we can bounce Jace and our Invasion of Arcavios with this Town Ain't Big Enough, so that we can replay them. So we replay Jace, take it down to 1, and then we replay Invasion of Arcavios to grab this Town Ain't Big Enough. We can then loop this process until the opponent is milled out. Now, that's one way we can loop a permanent in this deck. We can also loop any instant or sorcery. The way we would do that is we'd bounce both the Invasion of Arcavios. So one of them grabs this Town Ain't Big Enough, and one of them grabs whatever spell we're looping. We have a lot of kind of backup fail-safes in this deck, because what if the opponent has hexproof? Jace says target player, so we can actually mill the opponent out with Breach the Multiverse in our sideboard, because it says each player mills 10 cards. That does not target. Now, what if the opponent cannot be milled? In that case, we can use Season of the Lost. We can do a lot of really mean things in this deck. So if you're really afraid your opponent's going to do something on their upkeep before they die to mill, you can also make them sacrifice all their creatures using Season of the Lost. But the way that we can win the game with Season of the Lost is the 3-paw mode, which says each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So you just need to get an Atraxa into your graveyard, which shouldn't be too hard if you can loop Beseech the Mirror as many times as you want to go ahead and find multiple Atraxas, play one, legend rule it, put it in the graveyard, and then you can loop Season of Loss until the opponent is out of life. Notably, it says each opponent loses X life, so you don't even target the opponent. So if they have hexproof, you can get them that way. If they're not able to be milled, this is our kind of backup plan. Speaking of really mean things you can do to your opponent, if you're really afraid of your opponent and you already milled them out, you can go ahead and force them to draw cards so that you don't even have to wait until their turn. This says target player draws 3 cards. So that's the way we can finish off the game. And then Whale of Forgotten, this is just like extra mean. If your opponent has permanents on their battlefield, you can bounce them back to their hand. If the opponent has cards in their hand and they're not hexproof, you can target them to make them discard their cards. And then you can also use this to search through your library, but that's not particularly important in this deck when we can just tutor. So yeah, that is the combo. As I said, it was inspired by Ali Eldrazi, who's looping Invasion of Arcavios to play Lightning Helix an infinite number of times. I just thought milling the opponent out is a pretty good way, and then we can also just make them draw cards once we mill them out. So that's a pretty surefire way to win. That's the Omniscience combo. Let's go hop in some games and see how we can do on the ranked ladder. Okay, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers sometime in the near future. Kind of a personal goal, so every subscription helps me get to that. So I appreciate that. Anyways, that first hand was pretty bad. We're gonna go ahead mulligan. I think this hand is pretty good. Not really sure. We'll find out. What do we discard? I think I'm gonna discard the Great Door because well, we already have Collector's Vault. Hopefully our opponent is not playing a super fast deck. Alright, that's one Omniscience in the graveyard. Opponent's gonna know what we're up to. Okay, opponent is on Orzhov Lifegain probably, so we just need to kind of set up our Reenact the Crime with Beseech the Mirror probably. Then we can get Omniscience onto the battlefield, but we do need to hit another card in our hand to kind of combo with. We don't have enough black sources to cast Beseech the Mirror yet. Hopefully we don't die in these next turns. Alright, that is actually really good. So we can hold on to the island, or we can play out the island. I'll just play out the island. I don't think it matters here because we have this ooh, that's not an untapped land. Alright, we have this Into the Flood Maw, which we can bounce the Essence Channeler when they go to attack. If we can find an untapped land, we can win the game next turn, which would be pretty good, but this combo is insane, I have to say. That's gonna drain us some, like, several life. I'll just go ahead and bounce this while we're at it. Save ourselves some triggers. Not dead yet, so we would really like... Does that give us the win? We need an untapped land off the top. That is not it, but it is a bounce spell, which is pretty good. So we can discard probably the Invasion of Tolvada, but that also wins us the game next turn. So we just need to live a turn. We can probably just get rid of the Reenact the Crime. Surveil, Unauthorized Exit. I don't think we really need that. Alright, as long as we don't die this turn, I think we will be okay, because we can Invasion of Tolvada our Omniscience and then kind of win from there. Okay, what is the most optimal? We can bounce the one Starscape Cleric because they don't seem to have a land for it. It will reduce 2 damage and then one less thing to don't think we need a land, and I don't really know if we need that much anyways because we have pretty much the whole combo assembled, and I don't think we're dying here. Alright, just Invasion of Tolvada, grab Omniscience, play out the second Omniscience just in case they had some kind of removal. And then Beseech the Mirror, go ahead and grab Invasion of Tolvada, or Arcavios rather, sorry. Then with Invasion of Arcavios, I forgot, with Reenact the Crime, you have to click Resolve every time, which is quite annoying, but grab the Beseech the Mirror. And then we'll Beseech the Mirror for the second Invasion of Arcavios. With this Invasion of Arcavios, we will go ahead and resolve. Search your sideboard to grab This Town Ain't Big Enough. With This Town Ain't Big Enough, we can bounce both Invasion of Arcavios to go ahead and play one of these Invasion of Arcavios to grab the This Town Ain't Big Enough from our graveyard. Then we can play this Invasion of Arcavios and then go to our graveyard, grab the Beseech the Mirror, and then we can go ahead and cast it without bargain, grab Jace, go ahead, play Jace, take down Jace to 1, whoops, 1 preferably. Oh my, the game. Alright, and then we can bounce Jace and the invasion. So we can play the, I'll go through the invasion first. Go resolve, to graveyard, grab the This Town Ain't Big Enough, play the Jace, resolve, mill down to 1. Okay, the opponent gets the idea, we can do that, and then we can force them to draw cards. GG. Alright, this hand, Jace in the hand is a little awkward. I mean, we can always draw discard Jace because we can get back from our graveyard. I mean, we have bounce spells. I do like land drops. Probably don't need any more lands though, I will say. Little concerning that the opponent played out a Novice Inspector, because it might mean they're going wide, and then these bounce spells are not very good into Convoke, which could be what they're doing. Though it looks like the opponent might just be playing a very fair mono white deck, or they are struggling to find their cards. I'll play the Floodfarm Verge and then pass. We can Collector's Vault on their turn and then like Into the Flood Maw, bounce something. It's not great to be bouncing like a Novice Inspector or the Sanguine Evangelist, but don't really need Jace, to be honest. I'm not gonna waste a Into the Flood Maw here. Okay, do we have a better land drop? That is kind of a better land drop. I think I'll play out the second Collector's Vault, and then we'll hold up Unauthorized Exit. We'll probably bounce the Sanguine Evangelist. We're gonna have a lot of draw discard. The problem is we're not finding any of our we could bounce the token, but I think we're best off bouncing the Sanguine Evangelist. Please be something good. Invasion of Tolvada, that is really good. So we just need to find Omniscience or tutor out Omniscience and not die in the meantime. Do I want to activate the Collector's Vault on my turn? Probably. Okay, Invasion of Arcavios means we can win the game with it, but not really what we need. I'm not gonna die next turn, so I can play this out, I guess, and don't need that. I think we're Just gonna Collector's Vault again. Didn't mean to click on my avatar there. Opponent on mono white tokens, which is kind of spooky. It's because can go wide, but usually the deck is pretty slow, so this is, I would say, an okay matchup. Okay, I think that's game. Opponent is out of mana, and so they cannot respond to the Omniscience, and I'm gonna say good game here just because I want them to know that the game is pretty much over with. Oops, I forgot to click library. And so that they're free to concede at any point because this is game winning. Grab the second Invasion of Arcavios. It's a little nice not having to click resolve after everything. Grab Sideboard. This town ain't big enough. Grab both of these. Play this Invasion of Arcavios. Through for the this town ain't big enough. And then this one, I'll go ahead and go to my sideboard. I'm going to actually grab Badlands Revival. Play this. I will submit 0 for reanimation, but I'll return Jace to my hand so that I can then go ahead and play it. I can take it down. Mill. You can take Jace all the way down and then bounce the Invasion of Tolvada and the Invasion of Arcavios if you really wanted to, but in this case it's just not necessary. It's a little bit more click heavy. And we're just milling. Just a milling. Well, I really didn't expect to win this one because we were struggling to find our Omniscience, but the trick is just top deck it. Play this. I think they still have... Yeah, we're going to have to replay Jace once. And then we should be good to go. Mill. Return. I'm going to play this. I'm going to mill them. Alright, they have nothing that shuffles their graveyard back into their library, so I'm going to do the fun thing, go to our sideboard, grab the Mind Spiral, and then target opponent, no fish, target player draws 3 cards. And that mills them out. GG! Okay. Well, that last game was incredibly satisfying. We got to do the Mind Spiral win, which was... I didn't expect to do so quickly, but yeah. Alright, this hand seems pretty decent. We can bounce things. We have pretty much all our colors. Opponent. Okay, opponent. Do I keep this? I don't know. I like lens. Say hello back. You do need to get to 5 lands, so probably not great to get rid of them. Opponent 2 mana. Alright, well, opponent probably on control is gonna get pretty messy probably. They let us have our Great Door, which is really nice for us, because it means we can go ahead and draw discard and fix our hand. We can get rid of the things that aren't particularly useful into any kind of control. Oh, Okay. That was not expected. Go ahead, draw, discard, keep digging. Okay, there is Omniscience. We just need to hit another land drop. Wow. Okay. I will Into the Flood Maw before they have any options here. Because I don't want them to get any tokens, and then we'll probably be drawing and discarding with the Great Door here. You can get rid of Atraxa. Okay, we will have the mana to do it, but our opponent... You can play out Jace as to like bait. As bait. Hopefully their deck isn't entirely counterspells and removal. I remember the first version we played of this deck, we played against a Azorius flash deck that had like Aven interrupters, they had counter spells, they had it all. So hopefully our opponent is sitting on fewer of those types of spells. Please just play out the Monastery Mentor. Cast something. Oh, come on, opponent. No fun. Hitting these land drops is good, but it's also kind of awkward. Our hand size is decreasing, since when you draw a discard, you never really replace the cards that you use. And it makes it harder to hold on to things and then set up some kind of double spell, which is usually what you want to do to break through these counterspell type of matchups. I mean, it's a good way to handle the Mentor. But I kind of just want to find another Invasion of Tolvada so we can back-to-back Invasion of Tolvada. Counter one, we resolve the other. But hopefully they don't have Get Lost. Actually, Get Lost wouldn't be a problem. I think like Exercise, there's some white removal spell that I think exiles enchantments. So as long as they don't have that or hold that up, it'll be okay. They're doing it, but they're holding up counter magic. Yeah, this is definitely an annoying matchup. Do I want to get rid of the Verge? Not really. Man. What is the right move here? We don't have treasure vaults. We're not getting like a bunch of mana to... Yeah, I'm thinking. We don't have a bunch of mana to... I don't think I can like just draw discard this land away. I don't think the opponent is ever going to tap out either. I think we just really need to hit like a second Invasion of Tolvada or like a Reenact the Crime. The only problem could be like if the opponent has a No More Lies could really break. could really break trying to double spell, because when it counter spells it exiles something. We need another black source. We can find another black source. We need 2 more black sources actually. Alright, we'll go digging for a black source. Or multiple black sources. That's 1 Invasion of Tolvada. They haven't drawn a particularly large amount of cards, so I might just run one out. I hope they don't have another counterspell and run a second one out. If we flip this over, how much mana would it add? Some. Ooh, Collector's Vault. Do we want Collector's Vault? Counter spells are so annoying. Hold on to Collector's Vault. I'm just gonna try and run this out. If this gets countered, I play out Collector's Vault. Don't think we're ever gonna get our opponent to tap out here, so I think I have to start playing a pressure before they get their mentors out of control. Okay, we'll play Collector's Vault. That should help us get more mana so that we can potentially double spell in the following turns. As long as we don't die here, though. That is posing a threat. Opponent could blow up their Blast Zone, but if they do that, they're tapping out of a fair amount of mana. How many turns would we need to activate Collector's Vault? We would need probably like 2 turns of activations to get enough treasures to make enough black mana to double spell. So that's not particularly fast, the clock that we're looking at. 40 of the consoles. Yeah, we'll definitely proc the mentors. I mean, if they play out the rest of their hand, they might be able to just kill us. Might just have to run out Invasion of Tolvada into whatever they have. They're going to flip this into the Planeswalker. Opponent's probably playing like 4 to 6 counter spells, I would guess. If they're really generous, they're playing like 8. I showed Spellgyre and 3 steps ahead, so taking 8. Yeah, I think we just go for the invasion. If they counter us, it is what it is. Opponent got out to a pretty fast start, and we were a little bit slower to assemble our pieces. Did they? What does that do? Draw 2 cards and then discard 2. Okay. Invasion of Tolvada. Here's nothing. Okay, do they have removal for the Omniscience? I'm gonna play out the second Invasion of Tolvada. Just in case they remove Omniscience, I can reanimate it. Looks like they waited until after I did this, so it's Not particularly great, but we can get Atraxa, which at least poses some sort of threat. Okay, never mind. I forgot about the authority of the consoles. Grab an Invasion of Tolvada. Would have loved another Omniscience, just so we would have been able to cast multiples, but cards in hand is always nice. Okay, well, we're gonna go for the combo. Opponent has a bunch of mana, so presumably they would be able to stop us here, but Invasion of Arcavios. At any time they could just get rid of our Omniscience, presumably. Sideboard. Grab the Beseech from our sideboard just in case they have Graveyard to hate. Grab the second Invasion. With the second Invasion, we will go ahead and grab our town ain't big enough, and then we'll grab both of the, I guess our opponent ran out of removal. I'm so confused. I feel like at any moment our Omniscience should be going boom. Having to click resolve a million times is kind of annoying. Seems what that is what our opponent is forced to do. Okay, we can go ahead, search our sideboard. I'm gonna grab Beseech. Go here. Grab the... This town ain't big enough. We'll go ahead, Beseech the Mirror, or Breach the Multiverse. I get these mixed up way too often. Beseech the Mirror and Breach the Multiverse. They have a very similar, similarly phrased.
Focus on the facts.
Similarly phrased. Words are hard. Opponent. Should I say hello, your go to them? I mean, I don't think they have a response to our plan here, so I think we might actually just be winning. Okay, they're tapping out. Okay, so from here on out, game is pretty much won. I don't know why I got 2 fish. Someone could explain to me that. I would love to know. Oh, the Beza. That's what it was. Graveyard. Grab the this town ain't big enough. We could also grab the Beseech the... or Breach to the Multiverse if we really wanted to steal all the cards in our opponent's deck. We can steal all the creatures in their deck if we just cast it a million times. How many cards do you have left? 6. Perfect. Mill you down. Wow, they had negate in their deck somewhere. Oh, Mind Spiral. Here's some cards. Enjoy. GG. I think we got really lucky with our opponent there that they just did not draw into like a single Get Lost, Negate, 3 steps ahead to kind of stop us from comboing off there. We worked through several of their or at least one counterspell, right? Oh no, wait, I think there was 2. There was Spellgyre and then the 3 steps ahead. So we worked through 2 counterspells and still comboed off, but yeah. Alright, this hand. We don't have draw discard, but we have double bounce spell, which is kind of nice. We're gonna try keeping it. We'll see what happens. Opponent Selesnya Dorks, presumably. Could Gloomlake Verge bounce it? You know what they say, bolt the bird, and what's the next best thing? I guess bounce it? Don't really know. One more elves. We have planes open. I mean, they're gonna have enough mana to do whatever they want, unless it's Invasion of Zendikar, because then they could ramp, so maybe it's still worth playing this and then bouncing the elves. Just slow them down. There's always the debate of, like, do you bounce, or, like, do you, deal with what, the ramp creatures, or do you deal with, like, the mana dorks, or do you deal with, what they're ramping into? In this case, I think... yeah, they're gonna play out Overlord. In this case, I think we did a good job of slowing them down here. I think we can draw discard Atraxa like pretty much immediately. Need to find Omniscience. These Beseech the Mirrors aren't particularly good until we get Omniscience, because I think the mana base probably could use a tad bit of work here. I added the Beseech the Mirrors to the deck list, and so the mana base probably doesn't really match them particularly well with the triple black. But you don't often need to cast it before you have Omniscience. Opponent has 3 mana open. Okay. I mean, if I hit Omniscience, I can reanimate it. It's not Omniscience. Get rid of the island, because pretty much everything we can play. It's black or blue. We don't need Jace in our hand, though there's an argument to keeping it because it can draw us cards. Perhaps I should have played the swamp just in case we drew another Gloomlake Verge. We would be able to cast Beseech the Mirror, find our mission. Oh no. That only bounce artifacts and creatures, right? Being able to exile any non-token artifacts and or creatures you control. And they gain haste. I'm a little scared. Alright. Omniscience. That's not Omniscience. Omniscience, please? That is not Omniscience. Probably should have gotten rid of the swamp. It's not Omniscience. Not dead yet. They could haste something big in. They have 8 mana, so they could drop a Gulta and then drop whatever else is in their hand. So, opponent, we gave them the time to ramp and curve out. Sire 7 deaths. Okay, that's absolutely fine. It means we have one more turn here before we're dead. I was afraid they're going to play Gulta Stampede Tyrant and then drop some other big creatures. Well, looks like we will be just fine. They should have, if you turn off auto order triggered abilities, they could have had the Overlord's resolve and then the Nahiri's resolve bouncing or dealing, allowing you to bounce their Overlord. Okay, this is really bad. If I activate this, do I have enough mana regardless? I do. So let's get a little extra action. That's not it. We are definitely dead if we do not. Okay. Maybe there's an argument to be putting in like a sweeper that you can search up with Beseech the Mirror, because that might be what we needed to save ourselves here. I mean, we're pretty much dead. Yeah, we're dead pretty much every single way, even if we tutored up a bounce spell with Beseech the Mirror. Good game. Let them smack in. See what else they have, perhaps. Sire of Seven Deaths is a really cool card. A lot of keywords. Actually has 7 keywords. First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, Ward. Definitely feels like an Eldrazi. Ouch. Alright, GG. Alright, that is going to do it for this deck. Hopefully you enjoyed. Ending on a loss, maybe not the most fun way to end it. And I wish I could have played like a few more games, but I don't really like making videos too long, just because the majority of people don't watch the to the end of the videos, and so the longer the video is, the lower the watch time overall, then YouTube doesn't really like it, blah blah blah. That's all besides the point. Deck pretty cool. We went 5-1 with the deck, which is pretty darn impressive. I think we got quite lucky. Finding Omniscience is a little bit harder than I think our games made it look. So that is my disclaimer here, is I think this deck is probably the best Omniscience Reanimator deck, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's you know, gonna stay 83% win rate deck. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. I'll have links to Ali Eldrazi, who kind of showed off the Invasion of Arcavios kind of loop that you can do with Omniscience in the description. I recommend their channel. They have I feel like they make decks that are pretty similar in style to mine, I guess. Like doing big, silly things or comboing. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, subscribing helps out the channel a ton, it helps out me a ton, helps me get to the goal of 1,000 subscribers, and consider watching other videos on the channel, such as the one on the screen that is the All Will Be One combo deck that we put together, which I think turned out pretty decent. Anyways, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Take care of yourself. Ciao.